Hey, what's up, the internet? Stefan here, and in today, I want to talk about the current state of financial opinions and potentially provide a little bit of coaching. Uh, because, I was scrolling through my news feed and came across this article. If you're making less than 25 an hour right now, you should be terrified. And based on the fact that nearly 52 million US workers are barely earning less than $15 an hour, this guy is basically saying everyone should be terrified. And I want to go over why that's simply not true and get over this doom and gloom speaking just to get views on TikTok. But there are things you can do to put yourself substantially ahead, even if you are making this less than $15 an hour. And I want to cover that, and I want to go through the spreadsheet. So you can see he has a cost of living in here, and he says why this is crazy and most people can't sustain this and everyone's going to zero, everyone's going bankrupt. But that's simply not true. So let's go into what his spreadsheet said. He said average rent is $16.59, which there's a lot of different things you can do other than that. Groceries $500, electric $119, water $45, vehicle $400 a month, insurance $130 a month, fuel at $4 a gallon, $200 a month, which, yeah, $4 a gallon, crazy. Hopefully that can get back to like $3 sometime if we ever figure out inflation. But again, fuel supply is not indefinite. That will continue to go up, and we do need to keep looking for alternative sources of fuel if we insist on being dependent on cars. So another topic. Cell phone, $127 a month, $45 a month for internet, $37 a month for streaming, $25 a month for trash, for a total of $3,287 a month. And remember, this would be money you would have to spend after tax because you cannot write off Netflix. I wish you could. It's not true. You can't do it. So a little unfortunate. And this would be $39,000 a year. And before tax, $51,000 roughly, which I just multiplied that by 1.3 for an average of 30% tax. There are different things you can do with taxes. Taxes are not 30% across the board. It does go in tiers. So, it's not necessarily 51,000, but we'll just use that because it's an easy number that people can understand, which equates to about a $25 an hour wage, which, as we saw in the previous stats, not everyone has a $25 an hour wage. But if you do, you can do different things like this. So you're not living check to check. You do have a little more financial comfort, and you can do things to progress yourself, to improve your financial situation, and to potentially achieve more, financial independence, financial freedom. If you're making less than $25 an hour, don't rent something for $1,600. For instance, when I was in school, me and two other guys, we rented some place for $500 a month. Wasn't the nicest house, but it was right next to the university. One of our friends was living in the basement, and not really a room, but he sacrificed because he knew what it took, and he had the willpower and the tenacity to do that. So, we were paying essentially $200 a month for rent, and living alone and with other people we knew, and it was a fun time, but not something you want to do if you're 30 years old. Also, this guy said with this budget, if you are paying alimony and child support on top of it, you are basically screwed. You're guaranteed to be bankrupt, which, if you're making $25 an hour and this is the way you finance and budget, I would think that you should be thinking about other things before seriously considering a marriage or child support. That may trigger some people that are already in those situations, which I apologize if that is the case, but there are things you can do to change that, which I will talk about. So what's realistic? Rent, you can spend $1,000 a month on rent, somewhere nice. And to prove that, here we got a 2-bedroom apartment, $2,100 in Grand Rapids, outside of the city center. Nice little marble countertops. And, we got some other places here. 2-bedroom here in the Frailing Mendels for $1,500. So, just live with a roommate. If you're in that kind of financial situation, maybe you should be considering, having a roommate if your goal is financial freedom. If you just want to be by yourself, yes, you're going to be paying higher rents, but even this, this place, 2 bedrooms, 1,200, that's still cheaper than the 1,600 we saw here. If you are in a bigger city like LA, Boston, New York, Seattle, you'll probably be making more than $25 an hour at even just entry level jobs. So we're not considering those cities. And here's another one. We are in Durham, North Carolina this time, just showing different areas of the country where you can find a couple 2 bedrooms, some pretty nice ones for 1,600, 1,400, 1,400. Down here even 1,300 a month. So again, that's well below $1,000. So I think in most places you can find something for 1,000. Actually, let's go back here to Grand Rapids. You can actually rent out houses for 1,400 a month, which that's basically the same I was charging for a pretty nice 2,000 square foot house in North Canton back in the day. I did raise the rents given that the house has appreciated quite a bit, but it's not unrealistic to find like entire places for cheaper than this guy's $1,659. And again, living with someone or a partner, you can find ways to bring that down, make it more manageable. Groceries, $500 a month. If you're eating steak every month, you can get that down to $300 realistically. Just to prove that, here is a healthy grocery list that I just came up with on the spot. Verified all the prices. You can get a whole chicken, $8, 5-pound bag of rice, $7, bag of apples, 4.7, bushel of bananas, 12 eggs, milk, 1 pound of frozen salmon. So that's 4-ounce servings. Americans and people in some other first class countries eat way more than they really need to. You really only need a 4-ounce serving. Bag of salad, family sized Cheerios. So you can snack if that 4-ounce serving portion wasn't enough. And I figure other, because obviously this is a boring ass shopping list. You're not going to want to eat like this every week. And if you can eat like this every week, you're a very self-disciplined person and you're probably making more than $25 an hour anyways. Just saying. So yeah, other, you can throw in some cookies, maybe McDonald's twice a week. If you are going out to the bar and running up $100 bar tabs every weekend, yeah, this $25 an hour is going to be a struggle in your $1,600 apartment. So give you some wiggle room there, and this costs $300 a month. Very reasonable. And this is actually a pretty healthy diet with the salmon, the chicken, staying away from the red meats. You can even probably cut out chicken and go more vegetable oriented with beans, lentils, things like that. You'd probably be even more healthy because the American diet is very inflammatory, which drains energy, affects mental ability and cognition and all that other stuff. Also another topic. But yep, you can get your groceries down to $300 a month. Electric, $120 a month. I don't know what that's from. And if you're living by yourself and you're paying this $120 by yourself, that's going to be a bit of a struggle. So maybe I should have halved the water and internet and trash and assume that, you get a roommate if this is your financial situation and you're finding it hard to keep up with your bills and you're feeling financial stress, given that you maybe live in check to check. There are things you can do. Live with 2 people, live with 3 people. A 2-bedroom apartment can actually house 4 people. And I know that because that's how I lived during my internships. Granted, you don't have much privacy. It's not always the best way to live. We had 1 bathroom, so it was a struggle kind of juggling in and out for showers in the morning or at night and alternating. And after the gym and but again, under hardships, you can do different things to improve your long-term situation by delaying instant gratification and understanding by doing certain things now, you can set yourself up for much better success in the long run. But again, electric, you can probably get that down from $120 to $40. 1, by splitting it with a roommate. 2, just turn off lights and stuff when you leave. And if you have a lifestyle that's not as electric dependent, like you're not gaming 24/7, you can cut down the electricity. Water, $45. I assume you can probably get that down to $30. One, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If you're severely dehydrated, you should probably flush because otherwise it's gonna stink. But if you're properly hydrated, it's okay if it sits around a little bit and you're trying to conserve water. You can also get low flow toilets, which use less when you're flushing away pee versus the other one. So yeah, you can also get low flow showers, and you can do something called the military shower. You turn on your water, get yourself wet, wash yourself real quick. You turn the water off after you get yourself wet, and then you wash yourself. Then you turn it on, then you rinse it, and you can cut down your water usage by half. Also, some people, I don't even know if I want to say this, but you don't need to shower every day. That actually wears off some of the natural oil on your skin that are protective, but at least twice a day. So that can cut your water usage in half too. Granted, like a shower takes like 35 gallons of water, maybe more, which is way less than you drink in a day. So your shower usage is what mostly contributes to your water cost. So military showers, shower once every other day if you are on a budget problem and your water bill is high and you're trying to conserve. Vehicles, $400 a month. Like, what are you driving? You make $25 an hour. You're living check to check. Why are you paying $400 a month for a vehicle? In this situation, pay down your vehicle as fast as possible. Get something maybe 6 to 8 years used. Try to pay all cash if you can, and then you're only paying $50 a month for like basic maintenance, your wipers, your oil, your tires. Again, if you're living check to check, never buy a new vehicle. It's just that simple. My vehicle is paid off. I've mostly driven paid off vehicles, and it definitely helps in the long run. Vehicle insurance, $130 a month. You can be competitive. You can be negotiative. Is that even a word? You can have negotiations with the insurance agents. You can get competing offers. You can do things with your deductibles. In most states, even Michigan, which has the highest insurance rate ever, if you have a good, clean driving record and you're not insuring a brand new BMW and you're insuring like a 5-year, 8-year-old car, $75 a month for insurance is not bad. Fuel at $4 a gallon. I did the math. This guy is driving 1,000 miles per month, which is roughly 250 miles a week, or 35 miles a day every single day. I don't know. We're in a hybrid kind of world. You can take classes online. You don't necessarily need to drive 250 miles a week. That's kind of crazy. Cut down on your driving habits. Carpool. Move in close proximity to your work, your school, a grocery store, and then you don't have to spend as much on gas. Cell phone, $127 a month, also very high. You can get pretty good plans with like unlimited internet and texting for $70 a month. I think that's what I pay on mine. And then you can also work on places that give you money towards your cell phone. My job does give me $50 towards my cell phone. I don't use it because it takes a long time to fill in the rebate form and you have to go through a whole bunch of hoops. So I just pay $70 because that's reasonable. And a lot of other places I think do give some money towards a cell phone because your work needs to get a hold of you if something happens. And if that is a common expected thing for your job to call you, it's not shameful to say, hey, can you guys give me a cell phone stipend because you depend on getting a hold of me for work, for on-call. If you're like a mechanic or a slot machine technician, repairman, or a doctor, or you work in tech and your tech systems can fall apart, you should get money toward your cell phone. So I don't really count this as a huge expense. Internet, $45 a month. That's actually really reasonable. So I just left that at $45 a month. Streaming, $37 a month. If you just get Netflix or you get Hulu, you don't need everything. You don't need your Disney Plus, your Apple TV, your HBO Max. You don't need all that on top of it. If you're doing more constructive, productive things with your time than just watching streaming services, I don't see why you can't just pay $0 or $15 a month here for just one of them. Choose your favorite thing, get a bundle, tell them you're going to cancel, get discounts, and then you can get that down to $15 a month. Trash, $25 a month also seems reasonable. If you're splitting this with a roommate, probably even cheaper. But we add all this up. This is $1,750 a month. A lot different than the $3,000 a month for the average prices that the guy said you need for the live the basic American lifestyle. You can make certain sacrifices, and with this, you only need to get paid $13 an hour, which, as you notice, is less than the $15 an hour that people say is a livable wage. Granted, this is a pretty tight budget. $15 an hour would be pretty difficult, especially if you're trying to raise kids with this kind of budget, because then you have, kids' clothes, kids' childcare, kids' education. And in that case, I'm going to talk about what I would do with this extra $1,500 a month in this situation. And with this $13 a month, I imagine, maybe you're a student, maybe you're a first year, you're working a job, you just graduated, and you're trying to find a job in the thing that you got your degree for. That's not the case. You can do certain things like take night classes, network, apply to multiple other places, share your experience like with your current job, and work on improving your salary over time, because this $13 hourly wage, I hope no one is making this permanently. Granted, I know that people probably are. And with waitresses, there's things you can do to get higher tips, be more prompt with your service, remember people's names, smile more often. Granted, it's kind of awkward saying that you need to do those things to improve your tips, but if you are a tip dependent person, just be friendly. We're a very people oriented society. So with this hourly wage, $13 an hour, that's all you need for this kind of lifestyle. If you are making $13 an hour, I would probably recommend the thing that I did, live with 3 or 4 people in a cheaper $600 a month house. Granted, it's not going to be that nice, but it will allow you some financial freedom as you improve your situation, grow your skills, get into a better career, work on side hustles. This hourly wage only assumes 40 hours a week. You can work one full-time and one part-time job as long as there's no contracts conflicting you from doing that. If you enjoy work, you can improve your situation that way. But let's say you do make $25 an hour. You previously had this kind of budget. You see this video, you decide you don't want to live check to check anymore. You cut yourself down to this kind of budget, and now you have an extra $1,500 a month. With an extra $1,500 a month, I personally would not, what is it called? Lifestyle inflation. Like, oh, I got this extra $1,500 a month. I'm going to start going to the bar more often. I'm going to start, instead of getting a used car, I'm going to go get a leased car, because then you get yourself in this situation again. So with this, I would take $1,000 a month. I would invest it. Right now is a real tricky time in investing. So this is not actual financial advice, but you may want to hold off right now until the economy is in a slightly more better looking place. But you never know when the turn is going to happen, but it could also just keep going down. So again, investments are risky. You can even invest this in 4% bonds, but with inflation the way it is, you probably actually lose money long term doing that. Different topic. So 1,000 in stocks and bonds when we're in a more confident place, and then 500. Well, actually, right now you can even just use this to pay off any existing high debts you have. If you have credit card debts, pay that off first. This is Dave Ramsey's baby steps 101. If you still have this car and you're still making this payment, but you cut down your budget in other places, then you can work on paying off that car as soon as possible and consider selling it and trading it for something that can be paid off. With a paid off car that's 8 years older, you will have more maintenance. You might have like one substantial repair every year, but this $50 a month thing kind of includes like that big long maintenance item. You might want to give yourself a little more of a contingency than that if your car is not as good. But in that case, you can learn basic skills like how to change the oil yourself, how to change tires yourself, which I don't know if you can do that because balancing and mounting, all that stuff is hard. But you can at least change your oil and do some basic maintenance yourself. So again, stocks kind of risky right now. So with this 1500, pay off high interest debts. Maybe go back to school. Get some certificates in like leadership. If you're in marketing, take some marketing classes. If you're in anything, go to some communication classes. If you're in coding, go to boot camps. You can get a master's degree if you have a bachelor's. You can do something online. I have seen that I can do an online data science certificate from like pretty good schools like Georgia Tech and MIT, and I can do that in 3 semesters or 4 semesters and get extra certificates, which I could then use to increase my pay. So level up your skills with this money. You can use it to get a gym membership and improve your physical and mental health. You can use this money to get more books on some of the subjects that I talked about. You don't necessarily need certificates. You just need to be able to demonstrate the skills that you're learning. So use this $1,500 on personal investments such as educations, high interest bonds, maybe some real estate opportunities, because long run real estate usually goes up. But $1,500 a month, kind of tight to potentially do real estate with, but it can be done in different ways. So with that said, I don't feel the economy is in a crazy state where you need more than $25 an hour to live. I just showed you that you can support yourself with $13 an hour. But you can make certain sacrifices and make better financial decisions to set yourself up long run. So, you know what? Actually, let's say that we are in a decent economy again. We're no longer in talks of, oh my God, there's a recession. We need to keep raising rates to balance inflation. And investor confidence starts to come back. With that $1,000 a month, in case you guys don't know the magic of compound interest, let's say you save $1,000 a month, and you do it for 20 years, and you have an estimated interest rate of 6.5%, which is kind of the year-over-year long-run average of the S&P 500. Probably not right now, so don't take this as like do this right now, because there are down years in that. And if this is just getting into investing right now, is kind of a scary time to do this. But when it's not as scary, if you do this, and we're getting average 6.5, and you have an interest rate variance range of 2%, which right now that variance is probably like 20%. You can be up 10% one day, you can be down 20% the next day, and 20% the day after that, and freak out and contemplate driving your car into places. But I'm just saying it takes a certain mindset. But if you are doing this, this is how you can benefit from compound interest. So you compound annually, and at the end of 20 years, investing just $1,000 a month, which is $12,000 a year. If you just put this in a can in your backyard, $12,000 a year in 20 years would be $240,000, I think, right? But investing, you get $465,000, a little less than double. And then, with $460,000 a year, the interest on that is an extra $20,000 a year, which can help, improve your budget. Instead of getting whole chickens, you can get a steak once in a while. And then let's see what this investment after 30 years, if you're in your 20s right now, 30 years is, you're still 50. You're still living after that. You still got a good 50, 60, with the way technology is these days, we might even live to be 120, 150. Who knows? So 30 years is not really that long. But if you are investing that in 30 years, now you're looking at $1 million. Where if you're doing this budget, the budget that this guy says is average, you have $0 in your savings because you blew it all on rent, crazy high groceries, and a vehicle payment, which after 30 years, that vehicle doesn't even run anymore. It's been out of commission for the last 20 years. So, don't do this, guys. Live your lifestyles in a way where you can be comfortable and not have to be check to check. Sure, it may take sacrifices up front, but once you have this $1 million, even at 8.5%, you're at 1.5 million. With that, you can pretty much just live off the interest and balance your lifestyles. So That's all I got to say about this topic. Yeah, this article slightly triggered me, but this isn't average, guys. Don't let the doom and gloom sayers get you down and add too much anxiety that everything is crumbling. But all right, see you guys. Bye.